Hello, and welcome to another episode of Meandering, the series in which I meander around maps, basically reviewing them for a friend of mine. If you are not that friend of mine and you find this, I hope you enjoy it. Today I'm looking at Shibuya, which appears to be a gray bubble map. I'm going to, looks like a basic four-square layout with a good chunk of connectors from it. I'm going to start B, because that looks a little simpler. Heading straight, we have this drop. Can take fall damage. As you can see, I've already lost some health because I looked at it in the recording and stuff. I only spent like 2 minutes, so I didn't lose much. Basically, all I said was you would take this every single time because this is just for rotating out of the site later in the round. Elevators here for future, aesthetics when it's not a big box and details it. On the left, we got the short area. Upper right, we got the balcony. And that's all I looked at before I stopped. This appears to be a mid connector. And this leads into mid and Takeshita Street. That's the name of mid. Interesting. I'm probably butchering that horribly. But anyways, you have this connector back. This is making me think, just looking at the timings, right? Like with T-spawn being here. I'm already meandering, I haven't even looked at A, but, or B I guess, but this seems like the better rotate. Like why would I go all the way back up through the stairs when it can just like go from here into mid? I don't know. There's probably a reason for it timings wise if I look at the map in the future, but right now I'm not seeing that. Anyways, we got site over here. Close right. Oh, boxes underneath the drop heaven area. Speaking of the drop heaven area, ladder. And you would like not fall off the ladder if you're actually good at the game. Left, weak sight, a lot of angles. This you don't have to worry about much because that's where you're coming out of. And yeah, these things you drop down. These look weird. I don't know why they're brushes. I'm trying to think from an aesthetic perspective. Maybe vending machines is what I could think of. Obvious way to jump here and gate that is definitely equipped off. Yep. Interesting. Ramen bar is the site. Ramen. Okay, it's all clipped off so you can't hide in there. This is like the main piece of site cover, so you use this as a CT to isolate the short and focus on that, or you isolate, heaven and you focus on short. As a T and coming out, I have to focus on, someone playing on site on this box, or this back angle over here. Very strong off angle. I'm thinking more about the CT perspective. Ooh, this is vending machines. Put these two over there, perfect. Anyways, this is the mid connector. Yeah. There's a door here that looks like I can access, but I can phase through it, but I can't access it. And a lot of stuff to jump on. Wait a minute. Yo, okay, I'm classic meandering, haven't even looked at B-side at all, and I'm finding off angles like this, so I could from here. And that's funny. I can get elevation for fights that are lesser expected. So wait, I could even fight him from this, and it's like one shot angle, or I can jump onto this, and it's probably like a deeper angle that's less expected. Like I'm a T and I'm coming out of this area. I do not have my crosshair ready for that. In fact, it doesn't even render on my screen. That is interesting. Let me place a CT here. Let me make sure he can crouch, uncrouch to prove he's real. Yup. Yeah, he's just floating on nothing. Like I have to. I straight up can't see it until I get like really close for the popping. That's unfortunate. We're gonna want to fix that. I don't think it needs to be clipped inherently, but definitely something that needs to be fixed. This is another angle. Player. That's strong. Anyways, short. I'm coming out. This is kind of dirty. I have like this long off angle, this long off angle, so I'm gonna want to hug left and clear this and look at my close right and then quick swing this. It feels kind of tough to do stuff, and then I have to clear my left and. You can stand here, cool. But you can get stuck because there's no clip. Okay, put a clipping so that this is like flush, right? But I should still be able to stand here. I think that's fine. These off angles allow me to maybe once again peek this from an alternative area. I think it's interesting. This is more for aesthetics. It just kind of blocks movement, not really cover unless you want to crouch and then you only have like your legs hidden. It's not real cover. You can jump onto this. You can do CT, yeah, and if you're good at movement, you can probably like jump onto the ramen song. But I am not a KZ warrior, not a movement menace. Okay, one more try. The world's worst air strafer just logged on. Oh yeah, I'm so bad. You can at least boost up here if you're terrible at the game like me. and this ramen sign perfectly blocks the angle, so you can't play like a headshot angle here. You'd have to jump up, and it's less of a headshot angle, and you're more exposed to someone coming out of this. So this is thought out in a well manner. I can still like kind of play like this and get a pseudo headshot, right? I think it's still pretty headshotty. No, this is just not so bad. I can see Head and Shoulders like the dandruff shampoo. What am I saying? I'm off the goop. So B site, pretty simple. Let me look at it from the CT perspective more. Spawn here, go straight left. This is mid. We'll look at this later. There's a lot of stuff. We got this garage that can't be banged. Yep. Oh, we got this stand on for a little elevation for an off-angle peak. I definitely need to be worried about a player standing here. I think he's standing on the far right. Then, well, that their perspective far right, far left here. So that's like a thing I might need to be worried about. As I'm clearing sight, this feels like there's like a quick op angle I have to look at, and then I have to look around here, start sweeping. Maybe have to worry about like this jumble of angles in this area. It feels a little difficult to clear if you're not using utility, but if you are using utility, it's not bad. And I think that's cool. Or you can stand here too. That's interesting. Yeah, so does have a CT would jump up to get aggressive. Alright, pretty simple sight. I feel kind of overwhelmed as a T with a lot of these angles. If I were to adjust this, I'd say like place a box here, and I think this makes the sight like a lot better. This makes it more possible to isolate fights. Maybe I should have placed this box a bit more to the left or right, but honestly this suffices. You can't jump onto it, which is perfect. You could do movement like this though, and then you have a CT, which is less than perfect, but speaking of a P, oh, this is a thing now. This makes it so I can play with this as like a main. I was gonna say, as a CT, you can't really play on site. It's like your one piece of cover on site. But with this here now, it feels more playable. Like I can isolate using this as cover. Because before I mentioned you use this as cover to fight like this, or like to isolate short and fight heaven, or you isolate heaven and fight short like this. But now this gives you another box to do that in a way that's like better. And wait, speaking of isolating to fight, you can jump up here and peek over. Ooh, interesting angles. I think this adds a lot to the site, and if I had to make another change to the site, I feel like it would be extending this out a bit, because right now it's like not really a spot, and it's not really meant to be, right? It's mostly just for the movement, but I mean, it's like a ninja spot right now. As I'm coming on the site, it's kind of clear and obvious, but there's a chance maybe I don't see him, right? And I can ninja, or you'll see a lot of the time I can see a CT maybe thinking about playing here, because it's like, ooh, it's sort of like a headshot angle, but it's really a head and half your body. So I feel like just extending this out a little bit. It's like, it's not like a lot, right? It's just the tiniest bit of an extension. I think it's nice. It also provides another piece of full body cover for a T instead of just these, which isn't inherently good or bad. It's just another thing that you can play around, right? Maybe have this be a little bit, just a smidgen wider. And then boom. Yeah, this is like bigger cover to play around for both teams. As a CT, I can angle around here. This isn't an angle anymore, and honestly, I think that's fine. Like, I can't see the head as I'm coming in, but when I come deeper into sight, that's something I have to look at. And I think this, you know, benefits both teams. Both Ts and CTs will feel the value of this. Because as a T, I'm like, as I'm scaling up, I have something to play on, especially post-plant. As a CT, it feels like this is like more of an area that I can consider like playing aggressively around. Obviously, all these like holes and gaps are filled. It's always weird. Some parts of this like have collisions that are like weird. You can see hitting like the thing. But if I shoot toward the center, I'm shooting perfectly through without wall banging at all. It's a weird prop. But it would be filled with dev_black, so you wouldn't have all the cheesy angles. But yeah, I think that's what I would do if I was forced to adjust this site. I think this helps make it a good chunk better. Is there anything else that I want to mention? Nothing is coming to mind as something that needs to be said. Yeah, it's pretty good now. This is like the main op angle, and I think it's fine having one strong op angle like this. It's gonna get flashed and stuff. This is like a skinny op angle, right? But if I am... Okay, so let's post this guy here. Right. If I'm a T, I can just kind of not worry about that and hug right and play around this box if I'm very concerned about that. Let's see, actually. Let me place the guy there. Let me get closer to this angle. I can maybe... Okay, so I have the thinnest amount of time to hit a shot on this guy. And I think that's fine. It's a lot better than how it was before. Also, you could choose to enter from the left if you went through mid. Or you could try and jump across. And then you can scale. And then swing right. That's a tight... Like, no, that shot is getting hit, maybe. Probably, actually. But it's fine. Shh. Maybe this angle could be made a bit... That's the word I'm looking for. This box could be made a bit larger. Just a bit. The goal is not to have it be properly large. And also from an aesthetic perspective, you could have it be like this is an electrical box connected to something else, right? And so it would allow more jumping and movement. Is that inherently good? Who knows? But I think basically this angle should not be as strong as it is. I like fully locked it off, but you can still like get aggressive, take a shot here, and then fall back behind. I still think there's like options, but it's not as strong as before. Because if I look at before, this angle is just shy of 2,000 hammer angles, which is pretty long. And you have that angle, and you have like this angle as well, which is also just shy of 2,000 hammer units. And all at the same time, you have someone who could maybe be boosted up here. There's a lot of places. So I think that this cover that I added, like here and here, helps make the site a better place that is more fun to play around. If I were to make any more changes, if I absolutely was legally required to, it would be to add a barrel right here, just to make it so it's cleaner fighting the CT area. I'd probably honestly stack the barrel, or make it like slightly taller, but the point is I want something to help when I'm engaging with the guy from here. Like I can barely see his head. Well, not barely, but it's like a fair engagement. It isn't like terrible. I think this just makes it so that, because this is a long angle, and I think CTs have other ways to contest this, like with mollies or actually running up based on timings, right? Anyways, I spent 12 minutes just on the B site. Holy! Let's take a look at. This is probably going to be the longest meandering ever. I'm actually in shock that I spent that long. I feel like I did not say much or anything. Holy, that's crazy. Wow. I'm genuinely like shocked that I spent that long. And real quick, if I made it for spending this long, we might as well. I'd maybe consider adding a box like here. Maybe, you know, angle the wall. But I think that it allows for, once again, more movement. And also, I think having the potential for a T getting aggressive like this, or a CT to have like, it's not full body cover, but it's half body, and you can jump and stand on this. I don't know. This box was kind of iffy. It was just a spur of the moment thing, but I think it could be cool. Anyways, let's look at the other site. Let's look at A. I kept calling the B side A, I don't know why. A, from T perspective, I'm running down Takeshita Street. Probably butchering the name of. You got all these little shells, you got windows that we're gonna be breaking every round if we want to have fluid movement. So just have them start open. Why do they gotta... you can technically jump on these shells. That's cool. On this outer area, and we have this. Okay, what? Wallbang in the mid, I guess. A tiny gap as well, so you can spam wallbang, or you can jumping peek, or you can, you know, boost and peek, and there's a lot of options, and I'm just not gonna worry too much about it. Yeah. This is probably meant to be a double door in the future if it was textured, and if it was a double door, then there'd be a wallbang through this. There already is a wallbang through this, yo! It'd be even more bangable than it is right now, I guess. But I think that this is not an inherently bad wallbang, like this one. I think this is funny. Alright. However, I think that, I just want to see if I can... You know what, we're not going to worry too much about it. I think it's funny. Anyways. Blood splattered here, I hit him once. Anyways, I don't think this should be a bang, or at the very least cover both sides up, you know, fix this tiny hole. It's a gray box, you know, so I understand. We have this, so there's another thing at the mid. Seems more like an exit path if on your way to A than an entrance. It's just like this area that I don't know what to call because it doesn't really have any discerning features. Subway? Oh, I thought this was like a staircase down. It was meant to be like a subway station thing. I don't know. But yeah, another rotate. Like a cancel. With the way this map is structured, it looks like each team has like a T side A connector, a T side B connector, and then as well there's a CT side B con, which is this locker area, which we kind of looked at a little earlier. And there's also an a CT side A con, which has a squeaky, and we'll look at A site in a bit. So coming this way, we have this door that is forced open, not squeaky. We have this door that is not real. We have this window that we have to break, that we are once again going to be breaking like every round. I guess it's an audio cue to let you know if they're rushing. This is one of the few times, because it's something you're physically going through, that is close enough to hear, so there's a reason for it to be breakable. But personally, I don't think it needs to be breakable. There's at least a reason for it to be. I don't agree with the reason, but there's at least a reason. So you can swing from the right and not have to do that, or you can peek left at a little elevation, get a better angle. You can stand on this and peek. Interesting. Speaking of interesting, what's interesting is how I can jump on these vending machines and jump peek sight, and how I can also get another teammate to accompany me, and then I can go over this, and then I can not get onto this because it's actually... Oh no, I can't. This isn't intentional. I'm assuming boosting over this is because they rationally clip this off, right? So they're mindful about boosts and legs. So I'm assuming that this is meant to be allowed, and it is kind of a risky boost anyways, because you're using just multiple people. You got one guy who, to get two guys on the vending machine, and then you guys boost, and that's a lot of people with noise. This is an angle that exists. I think it's funny. It's not really real, but it's funny, and I like that. It's an option. Sight feels kind of empty, open, and that's not terrible. Here, this feels like a long op angle. I don't like how this is like a headshot op angle over here. This feels a little too powerful for my taste. I want a bit more cover as I'm scaling up the sight. Personally, like, I definitely, I need a smoke here to even think about doing anything on the sight. Like, that smoke has given me so much leeway in playing the map. Cannot jump. Oh, you can jump onto this stuff, so you can do movement. That's cool. The same thing does not necessarily apply to this side. But you can do this. Oh no, this. Well, there's so many truck models, and they're all inconsistent on their rules of what you can and can't jump on the CAD. Or the cab, sorry, I said the CAD. I'm doing too much 3D modeling lately. I can make this jump. I'm the airstraight demon. One more time. Okay, it's definitely possible. You just have to not be bad at the game, but you can do movement onto this truck using these planks, and you can fly around it. This like back CT HUD area with places to throw utility. Notice there's no windows here, because this guy realizes that, well, he probably isn't thinking too critically about it, he just left it open. But if this was new, there would be windows, and I'd be sad. Or if it was the last map I looked at, Akiba, there'd be windows, and I'd be sad, because I should just be able to shoot this shit open. Anyways, this is the mid, not the mid. The mid is the squeaky door. Squeaky door open. It comes to here. Okay, we'll look at the mid in a bit. The site's very simple. I do feel like there's a bit much. I kind of want it. I want something here, personally. Like, I think this. Holy fuck! I don't have to worry as much about a lot of the map. I'm so much happier. I can, when I open this door, like, this is just so much better. I don't have to worry about someone playing around this door. Speaking of this door, it can be damaged. So blown open as well. Yeah. Obviously, this would be filled with dev_black, as I've said, like every time I place a prop like this. But I think that this makes it a bit easier to scale up. I feel like this area needs some work. I feel like there should be a solid piece of cover here that goes up. This, what I just did here, makes this area more playable, and I would honestly extend this a little to the right, a bit more left. Like what I did right here, this is what I want, because there's still like an angle here, but it isn't as bad. I can flash it, and I can also quickly, like, it's a thinner angle, I can scale to here and then fight around this. I have something to scale and fight around that feels like real, and yeah. I think this is for the better. Speaking of for the better, okay, so you'd plant like here. This would be your open plant. I think this massive box added, you'd want this to be out of brushes, right? Not a little bit like, one of these brushes, the orange box, and I think this makes the map a good chunk better on the A site at least. And this angle, it isn't bad, it just feels a little overwhelming. I feel like you could very much get away with placing a box like here, right? And it would like feel better. Like you can still fight on it and do stuff, and I want to place another box, but it's not going to be rotated because of the way the fucking prop placement thing works. So just bear with me. Yeah, but you get the idea. I feel like this should not be an angle. Okay, what I have right here, but it shouldn't exist. It would be straight. But you'd still be able to post on something like this, or like this, or you can fight around the staircase. But just kind of minimizing the angles here. This also gives a CT cover, so there's something to play around. And at the same time, it minimizes the bullshit that a T has to deal with if they come in. I'm imagining like this. You know, this slight angle to the right, but not as deep of an angle that here. And I think this helps the site quite a bit. I think the rest of the site is fine, though I could maybe see a reason to consider maybe adding some more cover in this area, like right here. I could see a reason to consider some more cover for both teams to consider playing off of. Also gives like a little bit of movement potential, right? Which I think is interesting. Yeah, that's the changes I would make to the site. Is there anything else? Yeah, this box I think adds so much more to the site. Makes it a lot more playable. I feel like I have a lot more I can do. This is a bit of a minor thing, but I do feel like you could place some set of barrels like here. And it gives a way to elevate yourself and peek deeper into this area, like in a post plant situation, which I think is good. Or you could just choose, fuck that, I'm hiding like a bitch, which is also a viable option, you know? Maybe like a short brush, like this, and yeah. I think this helps make the site a lot better. Like as a T, I'm coming through here, and it feels like I have more stuff. Yes, this kind of eliminates the value of this window area, but I think it's fine. Also, if you can jump peek this already, that's cool. I did not realize that was a thing. So maybe this isn't as bad as I thought, because someone can jump spot this to figure out if there's someone playing there. I don't know. I still think that adding some boxes in this area doesn't hurt anybody. I think it makes it a bit more playable. This area feels open, but it's fine. Like, there's no cover here, but I still have waist isolate angles with cover that's further away from me. So I think that's okay. Yeah, I like the site a lot more. Anyways, it's mid-time, starting from the T perspective. I think I kind of mentioned this earlier, but there's like T-controlled A-con and T-controlled B-con. I'm not really going to focus too much on these. They're just areas that, you know, if both teams get aggressive, they might fight around. But it's just very T-controlled. You can smoke very shallow. The teammates are rotate late rounds, right? Like you can very easily throw the smoke from both sides. Probably be a lineup like you bounce it off this and then it goes. But it's definitely possible, right? And this would be how you rotate if you need to. If you're trying to work mid deeper, you throw a smoke like this. And then you can scale to here and through squeaky. That's one option. Or you could scale to the right and go through lockers. Yeah, that's the T perspective. From the CT perspective, I don't really have a strong angle I want to play. I just feel like I post on this angle with an op, or I post on this angle with an op, and that's about it. Maybe I can consider getting a bit more aggressive, but yeah, mid seems kind of drab playing, and it's not a bad thing either. I think it's fine. I do think maybe we could, you know, incorporate a little cover here, right, just to make this area like have a like I think you could make this like a pillar basically, right? It would, you know, a pillar in the center of this, make this a double garage, you know, solid pillar in the center. You know, maybe just a bit more to the right, but I think that makes this gives you a better angle. It wouldn't be this thick probably, but I do think that just giving a bit of angle isolation, something to fight around, would be nice. Like a night, like where's it? There's a double garage area here, like this. Imagine like this, but it's applied to this area instead, so that you can still easily enter, right? But you just have this little thing to kind of help isolate fights and fight around. Maybe put barrels to thicken it up on like one side or the other, so it's a more of a real angle. That's what I do. Oh, is this bangable with an op? No. Is it bangable with an op? Probably. And that's honestly fine. I think it's funny. You'd be doing it. But yeah, it's bangable with an op. That's fine. All this is bangable, all this orange stuff, so wait, could I? Through this, and then I had the bullet land here. Can I AK spam that? Where did that toss me? Okay, here. This seems to be just a lot of wallbang potential on this map, so I wanted to see. I think trying to make it visually clear when this is no longer a gray box, but isn't like real wallbangs, like that leads to the actual map. So they spam through here, went through this. None of it actually penetrated this second layer. So that's for the better, honestly. But you could stand here and spam. Oh no, you can't? Oh, because is this like thicker? Yeah, this is a solid bit thicker than these, which are like a single unit thick, literally. So you could spam through this if it was just through that, which I think is fine. So that is the map. Timings is one thing I should probably actually look at. And then, yeah, on T side, and I'm going to run to B. Starting at 20 flat. Peeking this long angle that existed without my boxes in 10 seconds exactly. Let's look at it from the CT perspective. Starting at 11 flat. That's wild. So I could easily get to that angle, or I could post up a bit more aggressively. So if this box of stuff existed, then I probably would want it a bit more. I wouldn't want the barrels I was mentioning earlier, so that way they could still get a thin angle because of how it's set up. I think it's fine. This up area, I'm assuming, just based on this timing, that a T can kind of get to like here, as a CT is just jumping up here. But if they were to jump up here, it'd be a T who could scale through this if they were to full sprint it. So like, yeah, I think the timings are fine. Let's look at the other site. Hey.
Let's go.
Wait, I'm gonna restart because I took the longer route. That's just you don't want to go there when you're starting. It's just another way to retake. Starting at 07. I can peek this window at like 10 seconds, and I could probably make it here by like 13. Let's see. Look at it from the T side. Starting at 7. Of the Porteous variety. Okay, so I could get posted on a guy who starts sprinting here, and I'd probably be standing here as a CT to swing across. Okay, that's cool timings. And finally, mid. Takeshita started at 920. Let's go. I'm using my legs. Peeking this long angle at like 8 seconds in. CT perspective. Holy, they can get there for sure faster. Starting at 9.5. So I can get that angle like a lot earlier if I wanted to. I don't want to see how much I can scale. Okay, so I could like make it into here. Probably a bit of a tough timing. Like I could probably get barely. If a T got posted right here, they could watch me cross. But I think that it would be entirely possible to do this if you absolutely wanted to for whatever reason. Very interesting. And as a counterpoint, a CT could get posted here. Come on, why is this clipped? I would love to be able to play in this area. It's not like deep. Maybe make it a little deeper, and I would love to play here. Or we make it. The squeaky door could honestly connect to here, and we get rid of this area. Is that good? Probably not, but it's something that could happen. But this should be a little deeper for sure. These vending machines push them back a little. I want to be able to play around here and opt for this. Yeah, interesting map. I've said all there is to be said and then some. I talked about how I would adjust cover. Let me go into that a bit more. So I would place, a box like. Let me move to a good spot here. Fly up here. And this would be like filled in, right? So I think this makes this better. Don't have a strong angle. I can still peek around this right side, but it's not as bad in my mind. I'd consider adding a solid piece of cover, like a massive solid piece of cover. The exact angles are going to be different, of course, than what I did last time, but like this. This is kind of different. This is further back than last time, and it's honestly fine. Could be a bit more forward. Makes this angle a little thin. But you get the general idea. I just want a solid piece of cover in this area, and I want this angle to be sort of blocked off so it's not as bad. I can still kind of isolate fights and tell what is what, and still take this gunfight. Doesn't have full body cover for the CTs, and a T doesn't have to worry about this as much. I would probably, honestly, cover this up more. Like this. Full covered up. And so I'd have to full body peek. I wouldn't be able to head glitch over it. Well, I guess headshot peek over this. It'd be on this left side, which I think is a lot more fair and bearable. And I would place something here because I just want more cover when I'm coming out this way. And I think the site has become a lot better. I also feel like maybe we could use something here, like right there. And again, movement becomes cooler. That's what I would do to this site if I had to adjust mid. It would be to, in the center, add a, so bump bump. I'm thinking of where the center is, it's like right here. It'd be to add a pillar thingy, so make it like a garage. So it would be, just for demonstration, right? This is how it would be sort of, but it would be a little wider on both sides, you know, maybe have some decorative prop sticking out, maybe hell an oil barrel, you know, a metal barrel, and it's like, oh, it's got oil, and so that way I can kind of play around this, or, you know, fight this area better. I think that makes this a better area. I can still get shot as I'm crossing, but it would be nice to fight around this, especially if I peek this way. This area is all fine. There's this piece of cover to fight around if someone gets aggressive, but there's nothing over here. I honestly do feel like we could consider placing some boxes of the boxular variety for a little full body cover. Plug in this hole, right? This shouldn't exist, but you get the gist. You know, some full body cover just to make this a better area. This headshot peak is still like powerful, but it's not as dumb as before. Well, dumb isn't the right word, but as strong as before, yeah. Coming out at the site, I really want a piece of cover to make it easier for me to consider scaling onto the site. And why am I trying to be pixel perfect with this? It doesn't matter. Yes, like that. And then probably like a barrel placed like that. And probably like, you know, one more like this just for good measure, just to demonstrate. Boom, like this. This is the exact, I think this is perfectly the angle I want. It's still like a thin one, but it is not obscenely strong. Like, I'm coming, and you can barely see, you know, a T run by. Maybe. Like, I can barely see his foot from back here, right? If I stand a bit to the right, boom, right here I see his foot. But, you know, the specific barrel. The point is, it's meant to be a very slight angle. It's more for information. Hitting the shot is hard if they actually hug the left. And then as I'm scaling up on this right side, I feel like we could do with some cover here. This would help to aid both teams, I feel like. Boom, nice piece of cover. CT could play off this, a T and a post plant could play off this. Honestly, I think we could get rid of one, like this one on the left. And we still have like this like ninja spot to play, right? And I think this just becomes a better area. Get rid of that. And if I had to make one more change, it would be to add, what was it? It was a barrel that I think would be nice in this area to allow for a like peak. Something it was I believe like this, 2 barrels, and then you can jump on this peak over. And yeah, I think that's everything for this area. I think I mentioned originally this was going to be a what's the word? A headshot box, but I think these double barrels are better to allow for the headshot peak. Consider slightly reworking this area. Honestly, you could just diagonally walk this off. We don't need all these extra angles, right, to peek this. I think they're a little awkward, unintuitive. Maybe you could just have the dumpster. I'd move the dumpster to be like here, and just for demonstration, I'm just going to place this box to give an idea of how the angle would be. I don't think it needs to exist, but if it is kind of something that you feel like is a core part of this map. Oh wait, no, but the way I cut it, you could still stand on the dumpster and peek. It'd just be more of a limited angle, and I think that's fine, because we already have so many other ways to fight this. Make sure to get the collisions here. I'm restating everything, just making sure I'm remembering all the points that I gave. Overall, cool map. I like it. If I had to make some changes, those are what I would do. I would also consider maybe making a wooden something here, just for spam. It's not necessary, but it's just nice to be able to, because it's a perfect wallbang for someone playing on the other side of this box. You could make it. I think it could be interesting. And one more quick thing I forgot to mention is at B, I think we could use some utility windows. I was gonna say these windows, but I'm not realizing that the ramen shop, you can do the boost and then you can peek, and it would be these windows and this, yeah, so it wouldn't be good, but something, some way to utility. Maybe like those small windows up here to throw utility from, kind of, but that'd probably again lead to an angle from ramen. It's fine, it's open enough. I just kind of wish that there was more ways to throw utility. Speaking of throwing utility, there's like a really minor thing, but it'd be funny if there was a gate here and it went to this area, and you couldn't actually access it like physically, but you could throw utility, so a flash could maybe blind someone, you know, over this gate area. I think that has comedic value. Anyways, that is everything about this map, and then some, and my opinions of how it already is, how I would adjust it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed, friend of mine. If you're someone else that finds this, what is wrong with you? Why are you watching this? Get help. Yeah, till the next meandering. See you guys later.